What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Mr. Joe's Baseball Show. I get a lot of comments on my videos that are like, hey, why do you play with stars turned off? Why don't you play stars on? You should play stars on. Stars on is the real game mode. Oh, I like stars on so much more. Okay, fine. Well, here we are. We're talking about stars on Mario Baseball, man. This is my first impressions tier list of stars on. I do not play a ton of stars on, but I am competing in the Stars on Showdown tournament that's happening right now. And I figured I'd give my first impressions on how I feel about all the different characters in the game. It does vary a decent amount from a stars off tier list, which is a bit unexpected, because there are some big changes on this list that I would not have expected if it was just, you know, stars on versus stars off. But real quick before we get into the video, if you did not watch my last video, I am currently doing a subscriber goal for 3,500 subscribers. It's 3,500 by the end of May, which is about 12 days away. And if we reach that 3,500 subscribers goal before June starts, I will be doing a full week of Baseball Basics, 5 days, Monday through Friday, 5 Baseball Basics. You guys are going to get to pick them if we reach that goal. So be sure to subscribe if you're not already. And without further ado, let's start talking about some stars on Mario Superstar Baseball. If you're wondering what stars on means in Mario Superstar Baseball, it means that we turn on the superstars for the characters, which you're able to do by pressing the Y button on them. In the lineup and fielding construction screen. You have to unlock them if you're playing in the base game, but if you're playing on Project Rio, they're automatically unlocked. So what that does is it gives a boost to all of the characters' stats, their pitching speeds, their throwing speeds, their running, their power, all of that stuff is buffed by 50 points. However, they do cap a lot of those stats at 100, so a character like Bowser, who in Stars Off has 95 power, he gets boosted to 100, but a character like Mario, who has 64 power, he gets boosted to 100 as well. Now, you'd think that this is just going to make every character able to hit home runs, and while a lot of them can, it's not everybody. It definitely still keeps some characters in the slap hit territory, but I'll get into more of that in a moment. Now, let's get into my tier list. Drybones guarding the tier list at the moment. Look at that guy. He is just adorable. We are going to start by looking at the bad tier, and this is a lot of characters that you probably remember seeing in the Stars Off bad tier. I think the babies are the worst characters, which is a little surprising, but hear me out for a second. In Stars On, we play with drop spots off, which means it's harder to judge whether the ball is going to go over the fence or not, so wall jumping is a lot harder in this format. Plus, with the drop spots off, it's harder with a small character like the babies to get under the ball accurately, and their bats just aren't very good still, because in Stars On, much more important than power is contact zones, and their contact zones are not great. Plus, since they already have low charge power, they don't get boosted to that 100 maximum, and it's a lot harder for these characters to hit home runs still. So I think that they're pretty bad in Stars On, and you probably shouldn't be picking them. Next up are Paragoomba and Goomba. I think that Paragoomba just has bad contact zones in his bat, but he does play the field decently. He has a very strong arm and he's fast, and all those stats just get a little bit more boosted. But batting is really the name of the game in Stars On, and I don't think that Paragoomba is a very good hitter. Same goes for Goomba. I think that Goomba might be an okay pitcher. I haven't really tested him with it, but there's not much value to having him in your field, and his batting is just pretty weak still. Monty Mole and Koopa are a little better than these characters. They maybe could move up a tier. Koopa has Pop Fly Star Hit, which in Stars On is absolutely incredible. Pop Fly is boosted so much that it's able to hit for home runs pretty consistently with a lot of characters. And you could still Falcon Pop to some degree. It's definitely not nearly as good, but it's not it's not impossible. And Monty Mole, he is a slap hitter still in Stars On, but since he gets that boost to his slap hit, he's actually able to get the ball out of the infield, but he still has that bad low trajectory. And again, these characters don't really offer much for you in the field. Koopa is pretty good since he gets that speed boost, and he still has sliding catch, but again, not that great of characters. Now, moving on, we are going to look at the not great, but not bad tier. These are characters that are okay, you know, if you pick them, you're not throwing necessarily, but they're just better characters overall. And the biggest surprise here is really seeing Diddy and Dixie Kong. Again, this is my first impression, but I feel like Diddy and Dixie Kong lose an amazing amount of value. Like, it's stunning how much worse these characters are in Stars On, and it's because, one, slap hitting is a lot worse. Now, Diddy Kong can definitely get away with the slap hit. I think Dixie Kong's is definitely worse since she has a better slap hit in Stars Off. So the boost actually makes it worse since slap hitting hits the ball all the way out to the fielder and they're able to catch it. But yeah, they really took a hard hit, I think, in Starzon, because they're still not, like, great home run hitters. They're capable, but, again, their bats are not that great, and their pitching is just kind of on par with a lot of other characters. There are factors of pitching that make different characters better that I will get into when we start talking about the good pitchers, but I don't think the monkeys are ones that really have it. Peach is a character who some people seem to like her pitching. I don't really agree. I think her pitching's still kind of bad, but, you know, it is what it is. I think that she's okay. Her bat still is very small, and while she is a push hitter, which is nice to have a push hitter that can hit home runs, low trajectory is not doing her any favors, so it's short bat combined with low trajectory. Peach is not that good at the plate. I will say that quick throw is very powerful in Starzon. It's something that I've noticed. I like quick throw a lot, but I think that Peach is just kind of not great. And then Toadette. Toadette gets kind of outclassed here because what was her greatest strength in Stars Off, being her 9 speed, is kind of just on par with a lot of other characters. Now, having sliding catch and wall jump is still very good, but like I said before, wall jump is a little bit worse in Starzon, especially because a lot of the home runs are just absolute bombs, so it's kind of not possible to wall jump a lot of them. But Toadette's still a very good fielder. Her bat leaves a lot to be desired. She could still be a slap hitter for you, though, but she still has a small bat and bad contact zones, which is not great for Starzon. Now, moving up a tier, these are characters that you're going to see in most games. I won't say every single game for some of these characters, but definitely in a good amount of them. And we're going to start off at the bottom here with Red Noki. Now, Green Noki is still probably just as good. I put Red Noki because she has Pop Fly, and I really want to talk about Pop Fly in this video. Line Drive is still very strong. Line Drive is actually probably better in Starzon because it can be hit over the head of fielders that would normally be able to jump into it. But you often don't get doubles on Line Drive. There aren't actually a lot of doubles in Starzon in general, since the fielder's arms are absolutely insane. But Noki's still a very solid fielder. She actually has a pretty good slap hit, since her slap hit is on the weaker side. Normally, the buff does not make it too good. And having Pop Fly and Line Drive as star hit options is very solid. She's a good fielder because she has sliding catch and a quick release with a strong arm, so definitely makes for a good outfielder. Definitely a solid character, someone that I think I might be underrating a little bit, for sure. And I think she could probably pitch pretty well. I haven't tried it, but I think Noki could be a good pitcher. Red Drybones. This is a character that I think might be a little underrated by people. He has the Pop Fly star hit. Of course, the green variant has the Line Drive as well, but Pop Fly is capable of hitting home runs. He's actually able to hit home runs with his charge swing as well because of the boosted power. And then I actually like him as a pitcher a lot because he gets a decent amount of curve on his pitches, and he has that cursed ball feature that we've talked about before, where when batters make non-perfect contact on his swings, the ball actually travels less distance, which is something that not a lot of characters have. Drybones has the highest stat out of all of these characters. I think he's tied with Bowser as well for that stat, but we will talk about Bowser later, and again, I'm talking about pitching. But yeah, Drybones, I like the red version the most. I think his star hit's really good. I think his fielding is solid because he's a technique character. He bobbles less. Really, really good stuff. Sliding catch is also very useful. And a lot of the things I just said about Drybones can be said about Shy Guy. Forget about the pitching, though. Shy Guy has a very good bat because he has good contact zones. He has Pop Fly star hit. He has a long bat, which is really important because you can hit the ball with the star hit when it's off the plate, which is solid. And he's got sliding catch as well. Plus, with the boost to his speed and stuff like that, he becomes a pretty solid fielder. He is still a little bit small, but definitely a good character. Shy Guy, again, probably someone that I'm underrating a little bit, but I'm not entirely sure on him just yet. Next up is Paratroopa. Paratroopa might look a little overrated, but I think his star hit is very, very good in Starzon. Plus, you do have the option to go for charge swings because of his boosted power now. He does still have the line drive trajectory, the low trajectory, which is not great, but I do think that Paratroopa has some hidden potential that we're kind of going to start unlocking soon enough in Starzon. I really do like his star pitching and his star hitting, and his pitching is definitely really solid as well. Okay, next up on the list is Daisy. Daisy, I think, is just an improved version of Peach in pretty much every way. She has sliding catch, so she has better range in the field. She has more power on her bat, plus she doesn't have the low trajectory, so she is capable of hitting home runs for sure. I think Daisy is definitely a character you want to be charge swinging with, like most of them. And her Flower Ball can actually go out on some stadiums because in Starzon, we play on all of the stadiums. So like on DK Jungle and maybe even Wario Palace, the Daisy Flower Ball can leave the park. Plus, like I said before, Quick Throw is really, really good because of how fast the throws are. So she's probably the best cutoff character in the game since Laser, while very good still, cannot be thrown to, first or second or third, plus the release is faster. So I think that Daisy's second base is really good, and I actually think I might be underrating her. I think she's a hidden gem in Starzon. I think she has room to move up, but I'm going to keep playing and we're going to find out. Next up is Toad. Toad is a character that you're not used to seeing this high up on a list, and that's because Toad has Pop Fly Star Hit plus a very long bat. So those two things combined, plus the capability of hitting home runs because he gets that maxed out charge power, Toad becomes an absolute menace at the plate. Now, he's not great in the field, but he's definitely a solid catcher since he does get that maxed out arm. So stealing's not that big of an issue in Starzon. People don't really steal it often because all the arms are juiced. But Toad, a solid character, great at the plate. Pop Fly Star Hit is absolutely busted on this character, especially Red Toad having the long bat, so you definitely want to be picking Red. So really good character in Toad. I don't think he has room to move up, but I think he's a very solid character. Next up is Bowser Jr. Bowser Jr. basically just becomes a home run threat with a long bat. He has a pretty decent contact zone on the end of his bat, but he can get jammed up pretty bad. But he's a solid fielder since his speed gets boosted all the way up to 9 speed, and he has wall jump, which again, not as good, I believe, as it is in Stars Off, but it is still a very solid ability. And he has a really good arm, he has good chemistry, Bowser, Bro, Madge, stuff like that. So yeah, Bowser Jr., really solid character in Stars On. I think that he has room to move up on my list since he's basically a new home run threat added to the game. So really cool stuff. Next up is the Green Machine, Luigi. Luigi's a really good character. He has capabilities of hitting home runs because of his long bat with good contact zones. He's got good fielding with Super Jump and Wall Jump. Super Jump I actually like a lot in Starzon because, well, if you miss a Wall Jump, you're going to dive into the wall. You can get up against the wall and use Super Jump, which is, well, it's not a guaranteed catch. It's guaranteed to not mess up. So I do like Super Jump a lot in Starzon, so I think Luigi's really solid. I do think Mario's a little better because of the Star Hit. We'll get into Mario momentarily. Luigi's Star Hit is not that great in Starzon, but his charge swing is solid, and his fielding is definitely solid as well. Plus, he's a decent-sized character, so it's a little bit harder to miss the ball with Luigi. Coming up next, we're moving up a tier to the very good characters. Starting off here with Mario. I think Mario's solid. His bat still leaves some to be desired because of the length. It's a very short bat, but he is capable of hitting home runs. Characters that don't have trajectory boosts for like pull or push are definitely a little harder to hit home runs with, but Mario has his Fireball as well. And in Stars On, you can pick any character as your captain, even if Bowser's on your team, so you definitely see a lot more captain variety, and you're going to see Mario captain a lot more, and his Star Hit, I think, is very solid in Stars On. So I like Mario a lot. I think that he's a great fielder, sliding, catch, and wall jump, great fielding abilities. He's an outstanding outfielder, solid at the plate, really good character. Next up is Pianta. Pianta, I think, is in a weird spot on my tier list because I think he's ranked higher in my Stars Off tier list, but he's just better in Stars On, and you could argue like every character's better in Stars On since they hit the ball further, but I actually don't think that's true. But I just think that overall a lot of characters got buffed as well, so Pianta, very strong character. His Pop Fly Star Hit is very good because if you pull the ball, it's basically a guaranteed home run if you make good contacts. Plus, he's got a really strong arm like a lot of characters, but he has a good release and laser, which is really important. I actually think laser's pretty good in the outfield in Stars On because of the speed of the throws, so definitely an interesting pick for maybe your outfield. And again, he can charge swing for homers as well, so Pianta really a solid threat at the plate. He's got a long bat, he's got the Pop Fly Star Hit, and he does have laser in the field still, which is really good. Middle infielding is not as important in Stars On by like a good margin, so putting him in the outfield I think is actually the move. Next up is Toadsworth. Toadsworth being one of the few characters that I say you should slap hit with, because the slap hit is very solid still. You can still hit it down the lines well, but he also has the Star Hit, the line drive Star Hit, which is really solid as well. Line drive can go over the heads of fielders. Usually it only lands for a single, but again, really big threat at the plate because he's got a long bat with a lot of good reach. He doesn't get jammed, which is really nice, and a good Star Hit to use. Now, you could charge swing with Toadsworth as well. It's just not as reliable as with the other characters. However, Toadsworth has one more thing about him, is that he might be the best pitcher, I think. I think he, maybe not number one, but a very solid threat. He is a top-level pitcher, in my opinion. He has very good control of the ball while still throwing it very fast, so I think that he actually has some of the best control as a pitcher, and I've used him to great success. I've seen other people use him to great success, so while Toadsworth was normally a fielder that you wanted to hide away, now you put him on the mound, and he actually does very solid work. Maybe best pitcher is a bit of an exaggeration, but really solid pitcher and a really solid hitter. So Toadsworth, all around great character in Starzon. Next up is another character that I think you should be slap hitting with. Except for Waluigi, I don't think you should ever do anything but slap hit. But the reason I have him so high is because his slap hit is the best slap hit in Starzon. Now, that might be a little surprising, but if you play Stars off a lot, you'll know that Waluigi has a very strong slap hit there, and it's honestly just even better here because he still doesn't hit it too far. He hits it to the same spots, essentially, but he's one of the few slap hitters in the game, so being able to have those characters where you don't really need to swing for the fences and you can get a reliable single to set up, Wario or Boo or something for a home run is really, really, really good. So I think that Waluigi, combined with the fact that he plays an all-star first base, and he is a fantastic pitcher. Honestly, he has an argument for best pitcher in Starzon because of his fastball mix-ups and his solid curve on the ball. Waluigi, an all-around amazing character, might even have room to move up on my list, which is a little surprising since he's not really a home run hitter, which is, what you're looking for in Starzon. Now, moving on, we have Magikoopa. Magikoopa has an excellent star hit. His bat all around really solid, plus plays a really great third base still. Third base still a pretty important ability. Not as important, but again, really good. His star hit is really what makes him shine, and having a bit more speed is always nice. He's not really going to hit doubles, but Magikoopa is just such a consistent hitter. He's capable of hitting home runs since he does have the push trajectory. Red Magikoopa might be the move here, since he does get a little bit of a boost to his batting, but I don't think it's that relevant. But Magikoopa star hit's actually even able to... Magikoopa's slap hit I've seen go out for home runs on DK Stadium. So again, the stadium factor is a big thing in Starzon. Magikoopa, an all-around very solid character. Maybe moves down a little bit as I play more, who knows, but again, really, really great character. Basically, everything that makes him good in Stars Off makes him good in Stars On as well. Now, Wario is a character who is sitting very high on this tier list, and I think that it's for good reason. Wario is now a bona fide home run threat. His bat has very good contact zones, he has decent reach, but his home run power is amazing. He's able to hit bombs left and right. He's a great fielder still. You can put him in the outfield for a sliding catch. He's still a very good infielder because there are still benefits to having good infielders. People do hit line drives still, even if it's not intentional. But yeah, Wario, really, really solid character in the field. Super solid at the plate. And actually, Garlic Ball, I think, is a little bit better in Starzon. This might be some kind of placebo, confirmation bias type thing, but I feel like I see the garlic go further back, which is most likely true, and then I feel like it separates more even because of a higher trajectory. If that's true, that might be a little better. Obviously, the fielders are buffed since they move faster, but I do think Wario Garlic Ball is a little bit better, but he's so solid at the plate. Maybe I just like Wario's bat a lot, but I think he's an absolutely amazing character in Stars On, and he curves out this, tops off this, high tier here. He's the last high tier. Now we're going to be moving on to what I consider the top tiers of Stars On. First up, we got the 8 through 4 spots. We got the top 4 in their own tier. Birdo, still Birdo, basically. Really good outfielder, really good infielder. Birdo's star hit is still absolutely amazing. There's not too much to be said about this character. She is now a home run threat because her charge swing is very solid. So Birdo does everything at the plate. She's still an excellent outfielder. She's still an excellent infielder and now is an excellent outfielder. So really good stuff from Birdo. She does move down a little bit from what I think she is, where I think she's in Stars Off, because there are some characters that get buffed a lot, but Birdo is still an all-around amazing character. Her star hit's still excellent. Definitely going to see her every single game, probably as a captain. Next up is Petey, who takes a bit of a hit in Stars On, and that's because every character gets the power boost. While Petey used to boast a 95 power tied only with Bowser, that was pretty much his only feature in Stars Off, and it's a really good thing to have in Stars Off because there aren't a ton of home run hitters. But in a game that's so polluted with home run hitters like Stars On is, Petey is not nearly as big of a threat. His bat is still difficult to use. It's easy to jam him up, but he does have Pop Fly Star Hit. You do have to pull it, which can be a little hard since the pitches come in a lot faster, but Petey's still a great hitter. He doesn't really have a place in the field as a problem since he's a pretty bad fielder, so that's why he drops down from what I would consider a top 3 character in Stars Off to just top 7 in Stars On, but we'll see where my opinions land in a few weeks. Next up is Bro. Specifically, I think Boomerang Bro, actually. Boomerang Bro has access to a slap hit, a star hit, and a home run, which is really solid at the plate. He doesn't really have a place in the field still, but having the good speed makes him an okay fielder. You know, you can put him at catcher always, maybe throw him in one of the outfield positions. But really, Boomerang Bro is a character that you want to use for his home run potential. You could make an argument for Hammer Bro as well, since Hammer Bro has Pop Fly Star Hit, which is solid, but I don't really think these characters need it all that much. And I think having Line Drive for different options is definitely a more solid thing in the Stars On meta. But yeah, Boomerang Bro, or just, Bro in general, a very solid character still in Stars On. I think he's about rated the same where I would have him in Stars Off. He might have some potential to move down, as other characters I might think they start to get a little bit better. But right now, I think he's sitting about where he belongs, in my opinion. Next up is Boo. Now, Boo was really close to being a tier up, but I just kept him down in this tier. Boo is still a very, very solid pitcher. He's no longer the best pitcher, but still has good mix-ups with charge pitches, fastballs, and, throwing curve pitches, things like that. But where Boo really shines is his batting. Now, Boo has the longest bat in the game after Bowser, tied with Waluigi and Monty Mole. But Boo has such big, nice, and perfect contact zones that he's able to hit absolute tank home runs. And now what we assumed was a thing in Stars Off still exists in Stars On, where curved trajectory seems to make the ball travel a little bit further, and that really shows with Boo because he's able to hit home runs even though you might not think he would be able to. His bat being so long is so solid because you can reach off the plate for a lot of things. You cover a ton of ground with the bat, and he is an absolute huge home run threat. I honestly think he's one of the best home run hitters in Stars On, and the only thing he really struggles at is a place in the field. While you could throw him as your pitcher, though, now you don't have to worry about Boo in the field, and you can just focus on him having really solid home run potential. He's also got a decent slap hit. It's not super good since most slap hits are nerfed since they go too far, but Boo is still a solid slap hitter, but really has incredible home run potential. Plus, having chemistry with King Boo, who, as you notice, has not been named yet, is a really strong thing, I think, in this game mode. Now we're going to move on to the top 4, the best of the best in Stars On Mario Superstar Baseball. Of course, there's Bowser still reigning supreme, but let's start talking at DK. DK, a very, very solid character. He's still a home run threat. You don't really see his slap hit very often since slap hits are pretty bad. It kind of hangs up a bit too much and the fielders are always able to get to it. But DK's still a home run threat. His banana ball is still really, really, really good, so you could still use that. And DK pitcher is actually very solid. He has a weird release and throws sidearm. Plus, the ball comes in fast enough that his lack of curve is actually a pretty good thing, since he's still able to curve it a good amount, but the ball travels so much faster that it's good for mix-ups. Plus, his charge pitch is pretty solid. Donkey Kong, overall, really great character, an absolute menace at the plate since he can still hit home runs. He does suffer a little bit because pull hitters are a bit harder to use in Stars On, but once you adjust and you're used to the faster pitching, Donkey Kong, still a really, really great home run hitter. Even better than he is in Stars Off as a home run hitter. Super solid character overall. Next up is Yoshi. Yoshi gets one of the biggest buffs that any top tier got in Stars On compared to Stars Off, and that's because while he now has the fastest speed in the game tied with a lot of characters, his tongue is still absolutely devastating in the field. He has a ton of range in the field, plus Clamber is actually relevant in Stars On since you play on Peach Gardens and Bowser Castle, things like that. So Yoshi, an absolute fiend in the field, but that's not where it ends. He's able to hit home runs now. Yoshi's always had a pretty good reach on his bat, but now he's able to hit home runs, which is absolutely incredible. He can still slap hit to some degree, but he's another character that you're going to want to charge swing with. He does have a star hit that you could potentially use, but I find it to be a little bit worse in my experience since the ball travels a little bit too far, sometimes hits right into the infielders. But Yoshi, absolutely incredible character. His outfield prowess cannot be understated. With everybody charge swinging, having Yoshi in the outfield where he can get to almost anything that's hit is so, so valuable. So Yoshi, really, really solid character in that regard. Next up is King Boo. King Boo is what I would say the most buffed character in Stars On versus Stars Off, because his pop fly star hit home run potential is through the roof. If you make contact with a pop fly with King Boo, there's like a 75% chance that it's leaving the park, and 20% of that remaining 25% is foul balls. So yeah, King Boo, an absolute menace at the plate. He can charge swing for home runs. He can star swing for home runs. He's a solid third baseman. Throw on the mound. He can pitch a little bit. He's not a great pitcher, but he can do it. But really, his hitting potential cannot be understated. Since he hits to both fields, it doesn't matter if you push or pull with him, so really your timing doesn't matter too much, and he hits absolute tanks with the star hit. You know, you hold down the R button, press A, it doesn't get much harder. It doesn't get much easier than that, but you also have the option to charge swing, and if you make contact, good contact on a charge swing, it's going to go out of the park. He's such a good character in Stars On. Absolutely incredible. He's basically a Bowser 2.0 in Stars On, but Bowser is still Bowser. He's still the #1 character in my opinion. He doesn't have to be your captain now, which is a huge, huge buff to the character. He still hits home runs. He still has the biggest bat in the game. He still has the best contact zones in the game. And he can actually pitch pretty well. He's a good, good mix-up pitcher. Bring him as a closer or something. He's got decent control over his curveball, but his charge pitching, you could get away with an entire game probably just throwing like fully charged pitch, half charged pitch changeups, and you could probably best a batter like that through a whole game. Because Stars On is only 5-inning games, so they have less time to adjust. And Bowser also has that cursed ball stat at 90 like Dry Bones does, so the ball travels less distance off his bat, which can definitely be really solid. But again, his batting is the star of the show. Still the longest bat, still the best contact, still the most power in the game. Bowser absolutely hits bombs still. He still wins games. He plays first base well. He plays third base well. He plays pitcher pretty decently. Really solid character overall. And the fact that he doesn't have to be your captain is such a big buff to this character that I'm still certain that he is the best character in the game. So that is my Stars On tier list. First impressions, of course, I have very minimal experience in Stars On, but I feel like I have a decent grasp on the meta, while maybe some opinions that not a lot of people agree with. So let's see what you guys think about Superstars on Mario Superstar Baseball. Drop a comment, drop a like. Remember to subscribe, because 3,500 subscribers by the end of the month, and you're getting 5 baseball basics in a row. If you guys want to see more Mario Baseball Stars On content, let me know and I'll start making more of it. I do enjoy the game mode a lot. I still am a Stars Off player through and through, but I like playing Stars On as well, so let me know if you guys want to see it. I'll be coming out with an updated tier list for Stars On in a few weeks, maybe a few months, when I'm more comfortable with the meta and I feel like I have a better understanding of the game. But for now, this is what my tier list looks like. Thank you guys so much for watching the video, and I will see you all next time.